Hi guys, if you've been struggling to get your first job on Upwork, then here are 7 Upwork tips that are guaranteed to help you get your first client. And if you stick around to the end, I'll show you an 8th tip that nobody really talks about. So let's get into it. Now, the first tip is that you need to nail the first line of your proposal. This is so crucial because whenever clients post jobs on Upwork, the first thing they do after they get proposals is that they scroll through and then they click on whichever one they find interesting. And so one of the ways to be interesting is to have a badge or to have social proof, Upwork badges, top rated or top rated plus. But if you don't have any of those badges, it's so important to nail the first line of your proposal. So how do you do this? Firstly, you need to find out the client's name. And to find out the client's name, you have to click on the job posting and then check the client's reviews. You'd see that so many of the people or a few of the people they've worked with would add their names to their feedback. And once you have the client's name, you then have to tailor the first line of your proposal to whatever they've asked for in the job description. So for example, if you have a client that needs someone to write email copies for his gym business, right? The first line of a proposal could be, "Hi John, it sounds like you need a copywriter for your gym business, and I'll be excited to work on this with you because I have done this in the past and I've provided amazing results or whatever number of results for my previous clients." That's a very good first line because firstly, you've mentioned the client's name, so you get their attention. Secondly, you've shown them that you've done this before and you've gotten results. And thirdly, you've made the first line of your proposal about them and their problem and not about yourself. And so nailing the first line of your proposal is a really good way to get clients to click on your proposal and hopefully send you a message and help you get your first job. The second tip is what I call the value strategy. This simply means you're providing value to your clients in your proposal. And generally, there are 2 types of value you can provide. It could be something positive or negative. So for the positive aspect, say the client needs someone to create a sales funnel for his business. So you could create positive value by outlining, even within your proposal, how you'll be able to create that sales funnel and how you'll be able to solve the client's problem and generate leads for your clients. That's a way of offering positive value. You could also offer negative value in the sense that you provide feedback to your clients on their needs. So for example, say your client needs a web designer to redesign their website. Negative value would be you checking the websites they've attached to the job description, and then in your proposal, you write out the key things you've noticed that have to be improved and worked upon. So it's so important to do this because it first of all establishes you as an authority because you're offering value to the clients, you're telling them what they need, and you're also pointing out issues that they may not have seen. And secondly, it's really increases the chance that your client would send you a message because of the law of reciprocity. People always want to give back to people that have given to them. So if you do this the right way, you would most likely get a response from your clients. So the third tip is to include a PS at the end of your proposal. And this is important in cases where you've written a very long proposal and your clients may not read everything. Nonetheless, people usually check PSs, and so if you write a long proposal and at the end you leave a small space and then put PS and then type something, there's a very high chance that your client is going to read that. So you have to maximize that opportunity. So at the end of a proposal, you can include a PS that says, if you order twice, you would get your third task or your third thing done for free. That's a way to get your client's attention. Or you could say, PS, if you order this book, I'll give you a free book cover design. That's a way to get your client's attention in cases where you've written a very long proposal. And this works so well because firstly, people like free things. And secondly, it's a way to get your client's attention by offering them freebies, especially when it's a very competitive job that you really want. The fourth tip is to keep your proposals brief. This is important because most times clients may not have the time to read the details of every single thing you've written, and so having a very brief and concise proposal that sums up what you bring to the table really ensures that your client goes through every single line. So usually I have 2 paragraphs and 2 sentences each, and then that really provides room for your client to go through the short proposal and then check out your samples. And so instead of trying to write so much, ensure that your samples speak for you. And that takes me to my next tip. The 5th tip is to add highly relevant samples. Highly relevant samples are samples that directly relate to the job you're applying for. And so you don't want to have one portfolio that you always paste on each job description. You want to have different portfolios, different samples that are dedicated to different types of jobs and requirements within your niche. That's so important because the more relevant your sample is, the higher the chances of you getting a reply from the client. The 6th tip is to get rid of fluff because it's not about you. This is so important because in today's world of AI and ChatGPT, so many people write their proposals with ChatGPT and it's full of fluff, things like in the overwhelming landscape of videography, there are some random things that ChatGPT likes to write that's usually fluff. You want to make your proposal about your client, 100% about your client, and then subtly outline how you're able to solve their problem. And to do this, you have to put yourself in your client's shoes. Think deeply about the job description and then put yourself in their shoes, and then think of the things you would want to hear from someone that you would potentially hire to fix your problem. That's so important because making a proposal about a client tells them that firstly, you've read the job description thoroughly, and also you're someone that is able to solve the problem that they have. The next tip is to flag your unfair advantages and explain how it helps the client solve their problem. And so when I was a writer, I had a mini MBA from a US university, and whenever I put that in my proposal, I dramatically increased the chance that I would get a response. And so that helps because I was a financial content writer, and so having a mini MBA really gave me a bit of credibility. And so you can do this in any field you're in. Just throw in something you've done before that is, very much likely going to increase your chance of getting a response. So if you're a web designer, you can mention the companies you've worked for. You can mention other skills you have that may help out your web design. So you can mention that, you have a bit of coding experience, so you can do a bit of web development if necessary. And so flagging other skills you have is a really good way to set yourself apart and help the client see just how credible you are. And by increasing your credibility and showing that you're a competent person, you're much more likely going to get a response.